while running for their lives from the pursuit of two strangers. Tu Tien and Jack got lost deep in the dense forest. Darkness enveloped them, swallowing up the last light of the dying day. Both of them were panting, their hearts beating wildly in their chests. Both of their phones were out of battery. All contact with the outside world was completely cut off. We were lost. Tu Tien whispered, her voice trembling. Jack hugged her tightly, trying to reassure her. Don't be afraid, I'm here. We'll be fine in the dim light. Tu Tien was lucky to find the lighter that was still left in her pocket. The small flame flared up, dispelling some of the cold, darkness, and fear that was enveloping them. Jack quickly searched around, breaking dry leaves and small branches to make a larger fire. The flickering fire crackled, bringing a bit of warmth in the quiet night. Hunger began to torment both of them. Jack looked around and noticed a wild banana tree. He carefully used the small knife he had brought with him to break off a bunch of banana flowers. With his little experience, he buried the banana flowers in the hot ashes. A gentle fragrance spread through the air, awakening the hungry stomachs. Eat this for now. I heard that grilled wild banana flowers are edible, Jack said, handing the ripe banana flowers to Tu Tien. Although it was not delicious in this situation, a little hot food was enough to make both of them feel warmer. They sat leaning against each other by the fire, sharing a little warmth and anxiety for the future. When the first rays of light appeared, dispelling the dark night, both of them stood up together. Jack used tree branches to mark the path, trying to find traces of the path. They followed small streams, passed through dense bushes, hoping to find signs of humans. After many hours of tiring walking, finally before their eyes appeared a thatched roof house hidden at the foot of the mountain. A glimmer of hope flashed in both of their hearts. They quickly approached, calling out softly. A kind-hearted couple stepped out, surprised to see the two strangers. Jack politely explained the situation, hoping for help after listening to the story. The man smiled kindly, invited both of them into the house to rest, and helped them borrow a phone to contact their relatives. The phone rang. Jack's mother's worried voice echoed. When she heard her son's voice and knew that both of them were safe, she could not hide her emotions. Finally, after a terrifying night in the deep forest, Tu Tien and Jack found help and were able to contact their loved ones. Their worries and fears gradually disappeared, giving way to gratitude and faith in a bright tomorrow. In the quiet space of the farm, Marhoy sat across from Tu Tien and Jack, his face full of remorse and heaviness. His eyes were filled with pain and endless torment. Finally, after a long sigh, he spoke, his voice hoarse. "Daughter, you and Jack actually Actually, I am not your biological father. The confession was like a thunderclap, making Tu Tien stunned. All the love, all the trust that she had for this gentleman suddenly became fragile. Tears welled up, but she still tried to stay calm. Her voice choked. So then who is your father? Merhoi bowed his head, his shoulders trembling. I am Hoi. I was controlled by bad guys. They kidnapped my biological daughter, forced me to approach you, collect information about Jack and his company, to provide to them. Each of his words was like a knife, stabbing into Tu Tien's heart. Feelings of loss, pain, and confusion welled up. She had truly considered him as a father, someone who gave her the warmth and love she had always longed for. Jack held Tu Tien's hand tightly. His eyes filled with worry as he looked at her, then turned to determination as he looked towards Mr. Hoi. Mr. Hoi continued, his voice choked. I know I have deceived you, taken advantage of your and Jack's kindness. I am so sorry, but I have no other choice. My daughter's life is in their hands. Tears rolled down his haggard cheeks. The pain and helplessness of a father made Tu Tien feel heartbroken. Even though she had been deceived, looking deeply into his sad eyes, she felt his sincerity and utter despair. After a moment of heavy silence, Tu Tien gently placed her hand on Mr. Hoi's shoulder. I understand. I understand everything. Her voice choked, but her eyes shone with sympathy. In my heart, you are already my father. These past few days you have treated me very well. I do not blame you, I forgive you. Mr. Hoi looked up at Tu Tien, his eyes filled with tears. Her tolerance and compassion made his heart burst. Thank you, thank you. Jack spoke up, his voice firm. Uncle Hoi, I understand your situation. We will solve this together. I will report the whole incident to the police and work together to rescue your daughter and expose their plot. Merhoi looked at Jack with deep gratitude. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, both of you. Although the harsh truth had been revealed, it did not break the good bond that had formed between Tu Tien and Mr. Hoi. On the contrary, sincerity and compassion helped them overcome the initial shock. With the support of Jack and the law, hope for a better future gradually emerged, where justice was served and innocent people were freed. After hearing Mr. Hoy's testimony and related information, the police quickly began an investigation. With the evidence collected, they proceeded to arrest the suspects. Not long after, a thug in the group was caught. At the police station, the thug confessed that he and his accomplices acted under the direction of a woman named Hung. He did not know much about Hung, only that she was the one who paid and made specific requests, including kidnapping Mr. Hoy's daughter and forcing him to collect information about Jack. When he heard the name Hung, a memory suddenly flashed in Jack's mind. He frowned, trying to piece together the scattered pieces of the past. That's right, Hung. She was his former secretary. Jack recalled that Hung was a sharp and ambitious woman. During the time they worked together, Hung had repeatedly hinted at her feelings for him. However, Jack's heart had long belonged to Tootie. He bluntly rejected Hung's feelings and did not hesitate to share his deep love for Tu Tien. After that rejection, Hung seemed quite sad and quit her job for a while. Jack did not expect that hurt and jealousy could turn an acquaintance into the mastermind behind these dark plots. I can't believe it's Hung, Jack muttered, both surprised and angry. He did not expect that selfishness and hatred could turn a woman so blind and cruel. He told the police and Tu Tien about his previous relationship with Hung. Everyone was surprised by this truth. Tu Tien held Jack's hand tightly, her eyes filled with worry but also determination. We will not let her achieve her goal, Tu Tien said, her voice determined. We will face it together and bring everything to light. With the important information from the thug's testimony and what Jack remembered about Hung, the police had more important clues to continue the investigation. They began to review Hung's recent relationships and activities, determined to expose the entire plot and rescue Mr. Hoy's daughter safely. In Jack's heart, the anger urged him to act, not only to protect Tu Tien and his loved ones, but also to return justice for what Hung had caused.